Hello and welcome to the Multifamily and More Expert Series, where we dive deep into a specific topic with our expert guest around real estate, mindset, or anywhere in between. I'm your host, Jamie Gruber. Today with me is Chad Hoffmeyer, who is the president of Local Commercial Capital, a commercial lending brokerage house. So Chad, thanks for being on today.
Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate it.
Beautiful. So we're in the time of COVID. So we're going to talk a little bit about lending in this environment. What's different about it? What's different about lending right now? What should people know? And how does a guy like you who deals with multiple different banks and everything else, how does a guy like you really help somebody in a time like this?
Well, definitely, Jamie, I want to start with the positives. Lenders are still lending money right now.
Yeah.
So that's a really good thing. We work with several credit unions and banks. I will tell you it's different from bank to bank and credit union to credit union. So really where our value comes in on knowing who's lending money when, right? COVID has affected things, but we've done really well. This year alone, we've closed 12 multifamily loans.
Nice.
Yeah.
And there's been a dip in the last couple of months in closing. So that's pretty significant when you talk about this part of the year and all that happened in the last 3 months. You mentioned different bank to bank, credit union to credit union. What are some what's different? Is it rates? Is it loan to value? Is it what are some differences that you're seeing right now out there because of this whole pandemic?
Well, what we're seeing, we have some credit unions right now that are lending 80% loan to value. Okay.
Yep.
Pretty impressive and pretty important. A lot of people like to put less money down. We have occasionally we'll have banks that will hit 80%, but it's not quite as often. But when it comes to interest rates, sometimes banks offer better interest rates than credit unions. It just depends. So it just kind of depends on that 5% of equity. If you want that better rate at 75%, or if you want maybe a little higher rate, but maybe get 80%, maybe get a 25-year AM. All those things factor into it. Another thing, Jamie, that's really important too, is prepayment penalties. There's a lot of pain out there from a lot of people that had locked into some of these yield maintenance prepays and are trying to refinance and cash out right now. It's caused a couple problems with a couple deals that we were working on where interest rates came down so fast that it caused a wider gap in what their interest rate was before to what it is now. And that's caused some huge prepayment penalties, which some people don't and aren't willing to pay because it just, the deal's got to make financial sense.
That makes sense. What are some, so what would you recommend around a prepayment penalty? How negotiable are they? What's an ideal, if there is one, prepayment penalty? What do you recommend to some of your clients?
I think, that's why I recommend them come to our company and use our services so we can better prepare them and negotiate these things for them. A lot of times we can negotiate deals that regular borrowers can't because of the sheer volume of what we're doing with the lenders that we work with. So some of our lenders, we've done $50+ million in loans with. So when we come to them and we negotiate with them, there's more to negotiate because of the sheer volume that we're doing with those lenders, our partners.
It's such a difference with a broker versus going direct to lender. Maybe there's a point at which you get to a size where if you're using the same lender over and over and over again, fine. Yep. But for most people watching this, for most people that are in the multifamily space, like you just said, you literally plug into you and somebody plugs into you and you get the weight of your relationship because of the credibility you have. So I always say this, I think people think that, a bank is a bank is a bank. The terms they have are the terms they have are the terms they have. But the relationship piece is so crucial. It's huge. And when you don't have one, meaning that as the borrower, I don't have one, going to somebody like you who does have one can be the difference between, like you said, 80 or 75 or 70% loan to value. Could be the difference in, half a point in interest rate. It could be the difference in your amortization, depending on what you're looking for. So it's really important, I think, that people understand the power of what a broker can do, the power of having or leveraging that relationship with a broker. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. Another key component, I know when you interviewed with Grant Warrington, one of the things that we were able to do was when you're a broker, you can talk to an appraiser.
True.
You know, very, very huge component in getting a deal done. We know appraisals make and break deals all the time.
Yep.
And with being a broker, I have the ability to talk to the appraiser and to make sure that appraiser is getting the right information to do the best job. You know, when you're a bank, like if you go direct to a bank, unfortunately, that banker cannot talk to that appraiser.
Makes sense.
A lot of people don't realize that, but you know, if you go to bank or credit union, like they're great and we love them, they're our partners, but they cannot by law talk to the appraiser. So it's a huge disadvantage to be in. So with me, you have the experience of someone who did that before, who worked as a commercial lender at banks and credit unions, that knows what an appraiser needs, that information they need to make sure that that value comes in where it needs to come in.
That's a great point. Grant did a video with us, for those watching. If you go back on the channel, look up Grant Warrington, about a deal he just closed where the appraisal came in lower, much lower than he expected. Worked with Chad on this deal, actually. And because of Chad's ability to interact with the appraiser, he was able to get much closer to the appraisal he was looking for. It's a really great video. You should definitely watch that and unpack some of what Grant did on that, or what happened with Grant on that. So I love that point about the advantage of being able to interact with the appraiser, because it is a make or break in many cases for refinancing or financing a deal. So that's huge. And it makes sense that right now banks are still lending, but going into somebody like you, where you've got this wide swath of people that you can interact with at different banks versus like, I'm going to go to that bank or that bank, you know, makes a lot of sense. It just does. It helps.
And Jamie, one more thing I just want to point out there too, is that lenders, whether it's banks or credit unions, they go hot and cold all the time. Okay. My job is to have the finger on the pulse to know who's hot when, right?
That's a great point.
Because, you know, a lot of times, you know, a lender might be doing all these loans and all of a sudden everyone's like, wait a minute, like what's going on? Like, why aren't we getting that deal done? Well, if we have our finger on the pulse and know who's lending when, it gives that client leverage.
I love that.
When that client can go back to that bank or go back to that credit union and say, hey, here's the deal I just got done. Everyone then wants that client again. You know, everyone's like, oh, well, wait a minute, I better sharpen my pencil on the next deal I do for you.
Yeah.
So I think it's really critical, really key. And equity out too, like banks and credit unions get hot and cold on equity out. People need equity out to make their next acquisition. You know, we just worked with Travis Bronick, had a great success story with him, and really pleased and thankful for all the business that's been coming your way. And thank you.
No, of course. Very cool. No, that's awesome. I love hearing that. I love that idea of riding the hot hand, if you will, the lender hot hand. You know who that is, right?
Yes.
Like, I don't know who that is. You know, that's what you do every day. So finding that right lender to match with what you need is huge. It's crucial.
Definitely. I mean, since we started the company, we've closed $530 million. So
wow,
we love doing what we do.
Just $500 million. Nothing big. Just $500 million. That's not too bad. So let's talk real quick, because it's relevant right now, about PPP, what that is and how that's impacted your business and lending generally, if at all. So why don't you dive into that a little bit?
Absolutely. So, you know, COVID has impacted the lending business. You know, our job is to provide the best service for our clients. So when this whole thing came with COVID, it just kind of rocked everyone's world a little bit. Businesses had to shut down. And we kind of, you know, at that point in time, like we kind of switched gears too. We really focused on how can we help people right now, right? Because like all the lenders are focused on PPP, and a lot was going on with the EIDLs, the EIDL loans with SBA. So we stepped up really huge for our clients. I mean, we ended up diving into this. We closed 43 SBA PPP loans.
Wow. No kidding.
Ended up helping save over 700 jobs.
Gee, that's an amazing stat. Yeah. I love hearing that. I know how much that means to you, knowing you as well. So
absolutely. I mean, it means everything. And you know, the best thing about it, we did it for free.
Amazing value. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, the thing is like, sometimes you just got to do what's right, you know? I mean, and really it felt like the right thing to do. And we spent hours. I mean, I'm telling you, my team worked tirelessly to get these deals done. I mean, 12-hour days, sometimes 7 days a week. I mean, we were just working because people need this money bad. So we did that. We had some great lending partners that really stepped up. didn't have these horror stories that you heard on the internet. You know, the community banks and the credit unions truly stepped up for people.
You know, Mark Cuban made this comment. I think it was something to the effect of people remember how they were treated in the time of COVID. He was speaking about employees of companies or customers or whatever. I know that's not your driving force. I know you weren't thinking, "Ooh, if I do this, I'll get something on the back end." It's just who you are. You're somebody who looks at it and says, it's the right thing to do here to help people out. But because you have that mindset and because you did what you did with the PPP loans and helping out businesses save 700 jobs, boy, I can see post-pandemic, post-recession, your business going from 500 million to 1.5 billion very, very quickly, meaning that this is exactly what it means to treat people right when things are tough, because on the back end, it will repay you and those people as well as you move forward.
Absolutely, Jamie. I mean, it's all about doing the right thing. And, you know, you definitely know me, you know, God's a big factor in that.
Yep, of course.
I mean, I feel like I keep God centered in my life. That's where I want to be. Okay. And helping and with having God centered in my life, helping people is easy. It's fun. I get fired up. I get excited about it.
Good for you.
You know? And so on top of that, we did 74. We helped people with 74 idle loans too, as well. So we got 74 of those done.
That's amazing. I'm reading this book, Covert Cows and Chick-fil-A.
Nice.
It's a branding book, but it says how faith, cows, and chicken built an iconic brand. So to your point, that's kind of you, right? How faith, mortgages, and interpersonal relationships are building an iconic brand in your business.
It's all about people.
Yep. 100%. Chad, speaking of people, how can people get to know more about you, get in touch with you? What are some ways people can kind of learn more about Local Commercial Capital and what you're doing?
Definitely. So this is a piece that we're working on. So I'm actually in the process of Jamie, you're going to love this. I'm creating a website right now.
Nice.
So it's about time. I mean, we've been in business for 6.5 years and we've been growing just on referrals alone, just word of mouth referrals. So you can look me up on LinkedIn. You'll see a lot of the recommendations and different people who have endorsed me. We've got a lot of CEOs on there and different people that are pretty high up at banking and credit union institutions.
Love that.
But I'm actually starting to build a brand. I need your help, Jamie.
I'm here for you, buddy. I'm here for you. Whatever you need. I love it. I love branding. I love the building of it. So
you're amazing at it. I watch what you do every day, and I'm just I need to be where Jamie's at for branding.
Yeah, well, I need 500 million in closed deals, so we have to learn from one another, I think. So. Well, Chad, thank you so much for jumping on today. I appreciate it as always, and check out Chad at.
Can I say one more thing, Jamie?
What's that?
Can I say one more thing, Jamie?
Please,
I wanted to just, I want to thank my team. You know, it's so important when you're building a company that you recognize your team members. So, Shannon Supel, Jessica McAteer, Amanda Shamoon, Francis Roystein. I also, my wife, Katrina Hoffmeyer, and we just hired Rob Naughty not too long ago, former bank president. And our most recent hire, I'm really proud of this and want you to make sure you put this in your video. Dave Miller-Wise has joined our team. So I'm really fired up about it. Great guy. A lot of people in the multifamily community know him. Got some exciting things coming up. I'm sorry, Davey. I just wanted to make sure I
I love that about you. Whenever you present and talk about what you're doing, again, people, relationships, it's at your core. You always make sure to not only thank, but recognize and call out your team. So, no, I'm glad you did that. Thank you for doing that. It's very consistent with your brand, which is this sort of 360 approach to people. So, no, I completely appreciate that. Thanks for doing so.
Awesome.
So, Chad, I appreciate it. Thanks again. And everyone, check out Chad. Look him up on LinkedIn, Chad Hoffmeyer. If you need the name, it'll be right here in the notes. And we look forward to building with you, Chad.
Awesome, Jamie. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome.